Hey everybody, and welcome to another one of my video/streams. Today it's going to be Unity time, so I decided to start making yet another small game because quite enough time has passed since I made my last videos on this. Today I have two Unity sessions open. I have my old game over here, old game, the one that I'm still waiting on the graphics for, and then I'll launch. So it should take me like another week or so, maybe two at most, to fully launch the game, and hopefully it's going to be at least enlightening. Maybe not a success, but it's at least I will hopefully learn from it. And then I've got another Unity session open over here, and I will start off creating the project. This game is going to be called Vikings vs Pterodactyls. Yes, you've heard that right. It's going to be kind of a slingshot shooter, like a cannon shooter, where you hold the screen. Oh right, I have to modify this. Where you hold the phone upright in portrait mode, and you play. So let's go ahead and change this up. Let's add. This is going to be no label. So this is going to have a width of 1440p and a height of 2560. Let's go. There we go. That's nice. And we'll use this one at this point. So that's going to be QHD if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if I'm live. I should be live. Yes, I am. There we go. Game title. Well, I said it's Vikings versus Pterodactyls. It doesn't want to register it for me. Vikings versus Pterodactyls? Why not? Enter? No, it doesn't want to. It doesn't matter. Anyway. Okay. Just in case you guys have been wondering, this is the app that I used to stream music in my other streams before. It's called Pretzel, app.pretzel.rocks, and you just here you can listen to royalty-free music that won't actually try to get you banned or demonetized on YouTube. Hopefully it won't. At least that's what I'm counting on. Right. Why is this called? I don't want it to be called. Oh, okay. So this is going to be called main, and I probably am going to only have one scene, the main scene. We'll see if I go for two scenes. I don't think so. So did I have it over here as well? Yes, I did. Right. So let's go ahead and make the create the list of folders that I need. Under the assets, I will need a folder for the audio. Then I'll have an assets folder for the visuals. Then I will need a code, scripts, and I think that's it. Yes, those are the and the prefabs as well. Yeah, let's go ahead and get prefabs in as well. Prefabs, because we'll be using those as well. Now, next thing to do, what is this? Skybox. It's going to be a 2D game, by the way. I don't do 3D because, well, I just like to keep my games simple, at least at this point starting off, so I'll just keep it 2D. Maybe it would be better to 3D, I don't know. I'll just have to see. Right, so next off I'll have to create a canvas group. So let's go ahead and do that. 2D object, now it's an UI. Is it a canvas? Effects 2D. Right, so I'll have the canvas scaler. It's going to be the same size as the resolution that I picked, which is great, obviously, because I want it to be like that. Great, it actually created it quite nicely. So I think I need to add the canvas group. Canvas group. There we go. Let's see if I have a scaler. Yes, I also have a scaler over here. Scale mode constant, pixel size, scale factor 1, reference pixels per unit setting. Then 1 pixel in the sprite will cover 1 unit in the UI. I think I'll have that as well. I don't know that I need that actually. Okay, let's have. Okay, so we have the event system. Let's rename this to game screen. Tag it as such. And there we go. So in here, in the game screen, use the same values over here. They seem to be. Yeah. Okay, that's good. We have this canvas, which is screen space, basically the same thing over there. The only thing that we're missing is the canvas scaler. Should I have that? Let's go ahead and get that in. Oh, I do have that. Everybody has that. I think if it's a canvas group, then you have that. I'm not sure, though. Right, and then we'll have another canvas for the menus, and we'll name them as such. Should they be a group as well? I don't know that they should be a group. I don't think that they were a group over here. Nah, probably not. Okay. But anyway, let's go ahead and get the other objects in. We'll need a background object over here, obviously. So let's put a UI image. Yeah, let's put an image in. This is an image, right? It's a rect transform with an image, yeah. So it's going to be the same over here. We will have to actually I mean 0, 0 probably is good. Let's go for 1440 by 2560. Yep, and let's stretch it out. Okay, that's nice. There's no sprite at this point, but I want it to be, you know, a bit darker so that it doesn't get in our way. And that's going to be our background. Just name it like that. So the object of the game is going to be at the bottom of the screen over here. Let me go ahead and just put that. Just to make things easier on you guys, I'll place another image within my background, just so that everybody understands what I'm aiming for. Let's go ahead and, no, that's not what I was going for. Yeah, let's just move that. So I'll move this to the bottom of the screen. I get a message, seems like I did. Okay. Sorry about that. Right, so the bottom of the screen is going to be like non-playable. Let's say, I haven't yet decided on the proportions, but I think something along those lines. And let's put that in the bottom and up top like that, so that they scale well. And then we'll have a catapult in the middle. So this is going to be the bottom. Let's go ahead and change the color to a dark red, something along those lines, sure. And oh, just FYI, this whole episode is going to be me making the wireframe for this new project that I'm doing, right? So it's not going to have any special coding, or not that much coding in it. So in case you're looking out looking forward to that. That's going to come in the next episodes. So this is just making the layout, the wireframe, stuff like that. Okay. Let's see now. Oh, just another reminder. I have this this small Discord channel that I made, and I'm looking forward to growing it and you know, making a small community. So if you guys like to join, the link to it is in the description below. So you know, you're all welcome to do so and get in for a chat and ask me questions and give me feedback, stuff like that. Mostly it's going to be about the games that I play on my channel, not really about Unity, but we can also talk Unity, of course. So it's no problem. Just the only guidelines are try to be civilized, don't post, you know, porn and grotesque stuff or radical stuff in it, and we'll be okay, we'll be fine. You know, just be decent people. Try to be decent people. You can troll, but you know, within decency, and that's it. That's like all of the rules. It's still growing, so I haven't actually thought about it too much. Right, let's get back to the game. So this is the background. I've only made that object in the background so that you guys can see that that's at the bottom of the background, which is going to be non-interactable, and I'm only using it as a helper image so that I can figure out how I want to place stuff on the screen. Alright, great. Okay. Next off, we will need to make the catapult object. Let's go ahead and insert that into it. It's going to be a sprite. Okay. Since it doesn't have the sprite in it just yet, I will also add an image object to it. There we go. I don't know what the width should be. I think a couple of pixels should be okay. Yeah, that looks okay. And then we'll have like 300 pixels height. So this should be like kind of a ballista, something along those lines. So I'll need enough space because the trigger on this thing should be something like in the Angry Birds games. So you tap on it and then you pull it back, you arch it back, however you say, and then you will get this direction in which it's going to shoot according to how you move it left or right and how much you pull it back. And then when you release the finger, it's going to shoot the meatball, because yes, Vikings have always fought pterodactyl with meatballs, and that is a historical fact. I challenge everybody to change that opinion if they can. I bet you can't. So let's go ahead and name this to and this is going to be meatball launcher, and we'll tag it as such. Launcher, that was a dumb name, I know, but it's, you know, it's my name. Okay, meatball launcher. Is this the game screen? No, I made the tag, but I forgot to actually change it. Okay, so that is the meatball launcher. It's on top of the background. Let's select the color for this image just so that we know what's going on. Yeah, that looks fine. That's going to be the meatball launcher in the middle, right? We will want to place these thingies, well, not right now. We'll keep it center at this point. Let's go for minus 860 and save. This might be bigger. I'm not sure yet, right? Okay, and this is probably going to be I mean, I could make this into a prefab, but I don't see the use in it. Not in this project, because this whole game is only going to have one meatball launcher, or ballista, how you may want to call it. So there is no point in actually having that. Okay. not interested right now in. Okay, and yes, this is on the UI layer. Is everything going to be on the UI layer? Do I want more layers? Did I actually use more? Yes, I did. I actually did use more layers, and I might want to have more layers as well. So this shouldn't be on the UI, it should be on the, well, it's not on the background. But it's, let's have a new layer. Let's call it game objects. These are going to be interactable game objects. Interactable geo. Interactable game objects. And then we'll have enemy game objects. And then we'll have Viking. Well, those other guys I'll put on the UI. No, I can't put them on the UI because the UI should go above everything else. Okay, let's see. Actually, the enemy game objects need to be on layer 10 because if I'm not mistaken, the lower you are, the lower within that Z-axis you also are on the screen. So I'd like to have. Oh, that was actually correct. Because the thing is about this game, or actually how I envision it, these pterodactyl that are flying above over here. You can imagine that this is the Earth. Then you have this meatball launcher over here, and you're trying to shoot the pterodactyl that are flying somewhere around the screen. They are going to be randomly generated, and then these pterodactyl slowly but surely try to swoop down and capture one of your Vikings around the meatball launcher. There are going to be like 3 to 7 Vikings total around here, and the main point of this all is you need to protect your Vikings, because when your last Viking has been eaten by the pterodactyl, then it's game over, right? Still haven't decided if I'd like. Oh, I didn't want to do that, sorry. I was just watching a fellow YouTuber. I haven't yet decided if this game is going to be like an endless loop with no levels, like Egg Yolk is, this one that I made before, because this just runs endlessly until you lose, right? And it's only got a high score mechanic in it. You can only get a new high score every time that you play, that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. And I was actually thinking about making levels in this one because I think that they appeal to a broader audience, although I'm not actually sure about that. I'll have to consider it. Right, so the enemy game objects should be there. Let's have the, you know what, the Vikings, let's just call it like that. And I think that should be it. Oh, and the meatballs. The meatballs should go above the enemies. Should go in front of the enemies, in front of the pterodactyl. You know what? This is too pretentious. It's not like I have a lot of objects, so let's just call these ballista. I'll name it ballista because it's easier than meatball launcher, and pterodactyl. And Vikings, and we'll also have ballista and meatballs. We'll put them on the same one. No, actually no. Meatballs and ballista. So those should be it. Right, so the background isn't going to be on the UI, it's going to be on the background. Layer. Alright, so this is going to be on the background layer. What? Yes, they should both be. The meatball launcher is going to be Ballista layer, and then we'll have the Vikings, which the Vikings need to be instantiated because just like in my previous game, you can either gain lives or lose lives depending on, I mean, it actually differs. If I'm going to do, yeah, no, I'm actually going to have them like prefabs. Also, I don't like how tall the meatball launcher is, so let's go for I think 400. Let's have it a bit taller. Minus 750. No, minus 800. Yeah, 850. Ah, it's okay, I guess. Okay. Right, let's make the Vikings, which the Vikings should be a bit smaller than the meatball launchers. So let's go ahead and make a new 2D sprite. And let's add it an image just so that we can see what's going on. The Vikings are going to be green because, yeah, of course they are. Why wouldn't Vikings be green? Like that. We'll have them at 100 by, let's say, 150. Okay, let's go for 200. Kind of like slender and tall Vikings, right? And we'll make one like over here. And that should be it. Not a lot of pixels for them, but I think that should be it. Actually, let's just keep it in the center because this is going to be a prefab that we instantiate. Okay. We'll also need to add all of the scripts that are needed. This is going to happen a bit later, not right now. The only problem that I have, actually no, I don't have a problem. Do I now? So where's the center of this image? That's over minus 850. Oh, this needs to be called Viking. We need to tag it as such. Viking. Let's go back. And let's put him on the Vikings layer as well. Let's save that. Let's go for minus 850. Okay, so minus 300. So if they are somewhere around that point on the map on the screen, that should be okay, right? So their feet is on the ground or something along those lines, and they should be, yeah, okay. So what I'll do when I try to instantiate them is actually give them the Y position, the same Y position as the meatball launcher has, right? And since the meatball launcher is always fixed, we can, I think, put this down over here. Okay, so let's zoom in and see if we are correct. Not really, not that much. The blue. Perfect. Save that. Okay. Did I... Where? Ballista is 1L? Let me check that out really quickly. Yes. No, it's double L. No, 1L. Of course. Latin didn't have double L's, did it? This is English bullcrap with double L. There are two Wikipedia. Greek ballista double L. Doesn't matter. It's not that important. Let's go back to that. Alright, we'll leave it like that. So this is one Viking. Yeah, let's go ahead and actually, you know what? Don't do that. Just put him back at 0, 0. And let's put these anchors on him. I don't know how well they'll look. I'll just do it like that for now. Oh, okay. So you can't do that, sadly. No, what are you doing? I mean, whatever, yes. Okay. That's going to be the Viking. We will also have a Viking script, so let's go ahead and make that. C# script. It's going to be called Viking script. And let's attribute that to the Viking. There we go, he has the Viking script on. Anything else now? I don't think so. I think we can make this into a prefab. Wait, how did you... I think you just drag it, right? If I'm not mistaken. You just drag the... Yep, there we go. We have now a Viking prefab over here. Okay, that's cool. He has the Viking script on him and everything, and let's go ahead and delete this one. And the meatball launcher also needs a script. It's going to be called ballista script, just because it's easier to... What? Let's add that to it. There we go. That looks good. Next off, we'll need to make the pterodactyl. These should be like kind of this. They should be much bigger than the humans, obviously, because this is make pretend. Even though I think I remember that the actual pterodactyls weren't that big. So let's go ahead and make them as well. Let's add a new 2D sprite. Let's put an image in it. They are going to be obviously reddish in color. How big should they be? They should be like bigger than the humans, right? So let's make them 250 by... actually no, they should be like... let's make them 350, almost twice as big, by 150. Yes, I'd say that should work out. Let's put them on the pterodactyl layer, tag them accordingly. Oh, big letters, pterodactyl. 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 Tag them as much. Alright, we'll have a script for them as well, which we'll call pterodactyl script. This is just prepping. Once again, this isn't anything interesting or making the game, making a lot of the features of the game. This should be okay in size, right? I think this is enough. Maybe too small. I don't know yet. We'll see. 350 by 150. I think that should be okay. Right, let's put the anchors in as well. Oh, this color is hurting my eyes. I think I'm going to change it. Damn, that's intense. I think I'm gonna go blind from that. Yeah, let's use that color. It's much easier on the eyes. Let's save that up. Scroll out, and these are going to be. Oh right, I almost forgot. So, in order for you, I mean, this even though the game is going to be called. Or is called Vikings versus Pterodactyls, it doesn't mean that the ballista and the meatballs that you're launching at them are meant to kill them. So what you're actually trying to do is feed them so that they go away, right? And that's why this object needs a collision filter in the front. Let's see if I can put a collision, a box collider. Or a circle collider. I think I'll put a circle collider 2D. So let's put a circle collider 2D. Offset X. Let's have a radius of 20. No, bigger. Let's have it 50. Maybe too big. I think 40 should be okay. That's going to be it. And we'll have an offset of x by 122. That's exactly half of it, if I'm not mistaken. I need a bit more. Let's go for 140. Yeah, something along those lines. And if you can imagine, the pterodactyl, this is where his head is going to be, if he's going from left to right, obviously. Then this is his body and wings, and his tail over here, right? So what you want with the yes, this is a trigger. So what you want is to hit his head with the meatballs, or aim for his head with the meatballs, and that way he will eat it, and if it's enough, then he'll go away, right? So maybe the game should be called Feeding Pterodactyls, but I don't know. I'll think about it. I think this should be okay. So this is the circle collider that it uses. And it's a trigger, which means when things happen to collide with it, and will say exactly what things, then you know, then yeah, trigger will be set. Why do I always keep going there? That's nuts. Right. Anything else? Let me think. Do I need anything else on pterodactyls? Well, obviously, except from code. I don't think right now. So this is going to be a prefab as well. There we go. We're going to delete this one from here. We also need to make a collision box for the Vikings. can delete this one off the screen right now. Let's put a Viking back in. Actually, no, we can modify it from here. So let's put a collision. This one should be a box collider, I think. Let's just keep using circle colliders. The problem is I don't know the offset for it, so we'll need to create one. There we go. We'll need the radius of about 40 as well. Yeah. And the offset is going to be on the y-axis. Let's go for 50. No, let's go for 60. Yes. So once the head of the pterodactyl interacts with the head of the Viking, then that means that he's been eaten. Okay. Let's apply this to everybody. Let's see, did this apply? Yes, it did. That should be. Oh, also it is trigger. So it's not a physical interaction, but you know. Okay. Oh, I forgot the background bottom also needs to have a collider. I actually forgot about that. Let's make it a bit. Okay, so this, I think this guy needs to go right now from here. Do we have his trigger on? Yes, we have his trigger on. Let's go to the bottom over here, which is a physical thing, it's not just an image. Let's center it back. Bam. And let's make it a bit less in height. This should be 1440. And let's make it 320, maybe, probably. No, actually, you know what? I don't need to do that, sorry. What I need to do is add a collider to it. And I'll add a box collider, 2D. The edge radius is going to be, I don't know, 10. It's not going to be a trigger, it's just going to be some, you know, something that is there on the ground. Do I need a body mesh on the Vikings? I might actually. Just so that they don't fall through, you know what I mean? Because I'd like them to, you know, walk a bit around. It doesn't matter actually for the gameplay, but you know, just to make things a bit interesting on the screen and not very static. So if they can walk around a bit, like to the left or to the right, then that's going to be okay. I would imagine. Also the layers, I think I got something wrong. Yes, I did. Actually the ballista. Can I pull this down? The ballista shouldn't be there, it should be... Put the background over here. Okay, background, yes. And then the Viking, the launcher should be on the... Okay. So this box collider should be, I don't know, full length, 1440. 1440 by... How much was it? 300? Something along those lines. Let's make it 280. 270? 270? Let's make it 270. I don't care about it not being physical beneath over there, it's not that important. The edge radius can be 2, whatever. Doesn't really matter. There we go. Let's see, where is the... I don't know if that is correct or not. Let's see. Right. And then the Vikings should also have body. Rigid body 2D. And they should be dynamic bodies, obviously. I think that should be okay. So let's go ahead and put one on the screen. On the screen. Okay, that's a bit wonky. Stop making things. Okay. So he is thinking. What is this? Even. Is this because of the body? Let's see how I made the eggs over in my other game. I completely forgot at this point. Egg. So the egg is a rect transform with an image script. By the way, this is going to be sprite. I need to change that. Then we have the egg script, and we have the rigid body 2D, where I've put some stuff in. Then we have a circle collider 2D. Put an egg in. Oh, it's the same problem, so that shouldn't be that actually shouldn't be a problem. I'd think. I'd hope. Whatever. When I start creating them, then I'll know for sure. So let's go ahead and leave him for now. He does have a rigid body 2D. He also has collider. Okay, let's delete him. Right, and finally, we should actually get the meatballs in. So let's go ahead and build those as well. There should be like a small proportion if you look at Ballista. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's get a 2D object sprite. Do I need a sprite? I don't think this should be a sprite. What should this be? An image or a sprite? I mean, I could trigger... let's make it a sprite. Let's go wild. This is going to be called meatball. We need a tag for it as well. Meatball. Meatballs, yes. Because they are... Actually... let's stick to meatball. There we go. There's going to be meatballs. Let's put a image on it just to see it at this point. Let's see. Let's go for yellow. Kind of like, you know, stale meatballs. Width should be 100 by 100. Is that too big? I don't think that it is. It should be kind of like this. Maybe they should be kind of like this. I haven't decided yet. Or should this be a slingshot and not a ballista? It's basically the same principle. see. I mean, the best would be a catapult, but from this perspective, you have to imagine things as, you know, this is the horizon, and you can see the earth, something like that, with some trees in the background, whatever. Then there are the Vikings, then there's the ballista pointing up, and then this is all of it is sky, and pterodactyl in the air, right above. So it's kind of like a profile view, right? Should the meatballs be... no, they shouldn't be within the meatball launcher. They should have nothing to do with one another. Okay. Let's get this to -8 and 0. And I think 100 by 100 should be more than enough. I mean, wait, how big are the pterodactyl? Okay, maybe that's a bit too big for a meatball. Yeah, let's make them 70 by 70. I mean, they're not that interesting anyway. Good. They'll also need to have collider, circle collider 2D. They will have a radius of 35, I think. Yep, they should be the whole space of it. 0, 0 is okay, and this is going to be a trigger as well. Oh, and I forgot, if you hit the other parts of the pterodactyl, you actually make them mad, and they'll, they will lower their time in which they come down to eat you or eat your Vikings. So you need to pay attention and not hit their wings or their belly or their tail. Oh, I forgot that the background bottom needs to be... this also needs to have a body. Completely forgot. Rigid body 2D. And this is going to be static. It's not going to move. Okay. Actually, why did I put a box collider in? It just needs to be a static. I think I need it actually. Yeah, I think I need it so that it doesn't go off it. So let's have a look at my ramps over here. They have a box collider 2D and a rigid body, which is static. Right, so you need both. Okay. You need both, else your stuff is going to go through it. And my eggs have also rigid body 2D, so you need to have both of them. But they are dynamic. Okay, so let's go back here. And the Vikings need to have a rigid body 2D dynamic. And then should this be automass? I think this should be automass. Oh, whatever. And then the prefab, the pterodactyl, they don't actually need to have rigid bodies, right? No. The pterodactyl needs something else. I'll get back to the meatball in a second. I need to modify them back. There we go. So they need two colliders. Can I add another one? Let's add a collider, box collider 2D. Okay, so let's add another one. This one is going to be what's their size? I think it said 350, right? And if this is 40, then they should be like 310. On the x-axis, 310 by 120. That's a bit too much. Let's go for 100. And then we'll offset them on the x by -20, Yeah, that's okay, but it's still too much, it's still too long, so let's go for 280 maybe. And offset by minus 40. Yeah, that should be it. So you either I think I need to make the mouth a bit wider, if I'm not mistaken. Actually no, I'll just offset this on the just offset it on the y-axis by 20, so that you have a higher range of hitting the mouth and not the body. Right, that should be it. Now if this is wrong, then I'll get back to it later. So let's go and apply that. Let's make this trigger as well, because the point of it is not to is just to trigger the script and tell it that, you know, the player has hit the pterodactyl and you should make it mad right now, or, you know, a bit angrier, let's say, not specifically mad. Okay, let's get back to it. So this should apply to all of them. There we go. Yep, here we go, we have them. I will get back to modifying these things when I actually have the game ready with the graphics, but that's going to be another episode for certain, because I'm just starting out. Right, so let's get back to the meatball. Let's see, we have the circle collider. I don't think this needs a body, honestly. Oh no, it does, because we want realistic physics, so I'll need to do that. Let's go ahead and put a body in it. So rigid body 2D. It's going to be a dynamic body, and I'll have to mess around with the linear drag, angular drag, gravity scale, all of those sweet stuff when I finish. The collider is going to be, you know, good enough, let's say. Right. Anything else that I need to do with the meatball? Well, I guess just put these in, the anchors. Okay, nice. Let's save it. And make this into a prefab, because we'll need to generate these, obviously, and we'll have more of them on the screen as time goes by. Delete this one. Maybe delete this one. Maybe I'll keep it. I think I'll keep it. We'll see. For now, I'll keep it. So we've got the Vikings, we've got the pterodactyl, we've got the meatballs, we have the meatball launcher. We'll need also a fuck. I forgot. We'll need a script. I'm pretty certain that we will need a script for it. So let's add that as well. Wait, let's make the script first. We'll call it meatball script. Meatball script, obviously. And let's go to prefabs and add the script. Meatball script. There we go, nice. Did this get updated? Yes, it did. Looks good. What else? What else? Do we need a background script? No, I don't think so. So what we're interested in, and why we need the rigid body and the box colliders for the background, is so that when So first of all, so that the Vikings don't fall through, because they need to have, or they should have, rigid bodies as well. We'll see if they do. I'm not actually sure, to be honest. I don't think that it's needed for them to have rigid bodies, but you know, whatever. But then secondly, we will want the meatballs. If you don't hit anything in the air, they should come back down because of gravity, obviously. And if they hit the ground, they should, you know, like splatter on the ground and stay there for like maybe a couple of seconds, like 3 seconds. Just, you know, like make a small visual effect that makes things a bit funnier. And to that end, I'm actually pretty sure that I don't need a script on the bottom. I might need a tag though, so let's go ahead and tag this up. Let's make a tag called background. Not background, sorry, that was dumb. Can I not? This is going to stay as removed as well. That's dumb. Well, anyway, floor. So let's put this as the floor. And the reason why that's important is because the collision needs to know what it hit. So if it hit the floor, then the meatball needs to transform. It needs to, you know, splatter. Yes, it should actually do that. That's good. Okay. How long are we in this? It's almost an hour. Prepping does take quite a long amount of time. What else do we need for the game? Well, basically we'll need score and a menu button, but I'm actually not sure how to do things. So we'll need another canvas. Let's make another canvas, and we'll call this menus. Sure, why not? Yes, it should be the same size as the screen. Canvas scalar. This needs to be above the game screen, if I'm not mistaken, just like here, yes. But the canvas needs to be disabled at first. We'll get back to that later. On the game screen, we'll probably also need the buttons, which we've also placed over here. And I'm going to keep them over here. And maybe we'll also add, you know, like the tabs for lives, multiplier, for points and stuff like that. But as I said, I'm not actually sure right now if this game is going to have multiple levels or just a continuous play mode. With this game, it's easier to have a continuous play mode because you can add extra stuff like getting special rewards or faster game mode, stuff like that. I might go the same route, down the same route with this one as well. What else do I need? I need the script for the game script itself. So let's go ahead and make another one called game script. No, not a folder. Not a folder. God damn it. Script. And this is going to be the game script. And the game script is basically going to run on the game screen. There we go, we have the game script. What else? What else? Oh, we'll probably need some floating text as well, and some animations for, you know, the floating texts, and maybe even the Vikings and the pterodactyls and whatever. I'll have to figure it out. Now, how do you do power-ups? I actually have an idea. I haven't actually considered this, because I might want to have like power-ups so that you can shoot like well, actually, since this is not a shooter, then you're not at liberty to shoot, you know, like multiple projectiles or stuff like that, because ideally you don't want to hit the body of the pterodactyl, right? You just want to feed them. So I'll have to consider how I do this. Do I need any other scripts? Let's just forget that for now. I don't think that I'll make separate scripts for the high score lives and stuff like that, like I did this time in this game, because that has little to no. There's no point in that, honestly, to be honest. What I will do, actually, is go to the Vikings and add a sound source, audio source, because I'll want them to have, have different sound effects when they move around, when they yell, because they might be cheering or they might be booing or something like that. When they get eaten, that should also be a sound, an audio clip that plays. But pterodactyl also need to have an audio source, as they sometimes flap their wing. You can hear them flap their wings. Maybe you can hear them screech, and you obviously want to hear them eat. Do the meatballs need an audio source? I don't think so. The meatball launcher is going to have an audio source, obviously. Oh, none of these play on awake. I forgot to say. No, they don't play on awake. Apply. Oh, okay. No. And the meatballs have no source, because the meatballs are going to have. You don't need that actually. Right. Anything else that I need to add in this game at this point? It's quite early on still. Well, other than the menus and the buttons and how the game is going to progress, I mean, it's easier for me to make it continuous. Having the game be continuous is the easiest way, because making levels also, I need to make sure that when you make levels that there is a progression system from one to the other, and that's not that hard to do, but it's not trivial either. You need to make a pretty good progression system, I would say. So that's why I'd like to avoid having levels in the game, first off. Secondly, you will need to add more and more stuff to the game as you progress through the levels, or at least that's how I see it. And having more Vikings, or having Vikings that can fight off one pterodactyl attack from one level to the other. But maybe that could be, maybe those could be add-ons that you can use, that you can get from like power-ups. And how you get the power-ups, I would imagine, should be something like from time to time the pterodactyls may lay eggs, and those eggs are actually power-ups, but you need to shoot them with the meatball. If you don't hit them with one meatball, then they don't trigger. I would say that would be the best way to do things, and thus I could have a continuous game mode, just like I have on my other game, and I think that would make for a more interesting game. I'd really wish to hear somebody's opinion on this. I'm just spitballing ideas right now, but I think that's actually how I'm going to do this. Plus I already have more than enough eggs from my other game, graphically speaking, so there should be no trouble just borrowing a few from there. I think that's how I'm going to do this. So let's go ahead and make another prefab object. Let's call it, this doesn't need to be a sprite, right? Does this need to be a sprite? No, this only needs to be an image. So let's make an image. Let's make it very small, like 40 by 40. Maybe that's too small. Let's go for 50 by 50. Okay, let's make them violet in color. The eggs, right now, obviously. Let's add a I was just thinking about how you would actually feed the pterodactyl and that what the mechanics should be. I was just thinking about, you know, they should have a normal flying speed, and then when they eat a meatball they should slow down a bit, so that it gives you that good feel that you made it slow down a bit, and when you target it with more meatballs one after the other, it could, you know, like eat more of them and then just suddenly start flying away because it doesn't care anymore about the Vikings. Yeah, that should be it. But let's get back to it. So I was making the eggs. They need to have a rigid body. They need to fall from below, which is dynamic. They also need to have a circle collider 2D. This is going to have, if they are 50 by 50, then this is going to be 25 question mark. Zoom in, yes, 25, and they're going to be triggers, obviously. Oh, actually I don't need a collider, or do I? Yes, I do need a collider. It needs to collide with the floor, right? Wait, how did I do the floor over here? Does it have a collider? Yes, it does have a collider. So both the eggs, it doesn't have a body, but it does have a collider. But it's not a trigger. And then the eggs actually have a rigid body and the collider. And then these guys need to have, well, a rigid body for sure. I'm not going to make this trigger as of now. Let's call these Ptero egg. Tag them as such. Pterodactyl egg. And put them on the meatballs. Yeah, they can be on the same layer as the meatballs, I think. I would say. Circle collider. What does the floor have? It's got a body, box collider, and a rigid body. Static rigid body. So this should be okay. And it's not a trigger. Okay, that's the meatball, that's the Ptero egg. Does it need a script? Yes, it also needs a script because we need to know what type of an egg that is. So let's make that as well. Let's just call it egg because we only have pterodactyl eggs in here. Okay, let's put this in the Ptero egg. There we go. We'll get to scripting in the next episode, I promise, just in case you guys are wondering. Okay, what else? How would we do this? So we have the eggs. Let's make them prefab. No, actually, forgot to put in these bad ones. Come on, mouse. I think that's okay, right? Yes. Live. And we can delete this from our canvas. And there we go, we've got eggs as well with the custom anchors. That's good. Right, so the eggs are going to give you special power-ups like an extra life, an extra Viking, armored Vikings, you know, like Vikings with a shield that can fend off one extra pterodactyl attack, or maybe a couple of them, like a shield. First they get a shield, second then they get a shield and a sword, stuff like that, you know. And yeah, I think that should be the free levels. I mean, one Viking can have a maximum of 3 lives, so to say. They can have shield, they can have shield and sword, or they can have none of those. So that's like 3 levels for them, which means you can extend the amount of lives that you have. And yeah, I think I'll make this a continuous game experience. Now I'm curious, honestly, if the ballista isn't too small. The next thing that this game needs is the control system, which means if you click on the meatball and you pull to the bottom, it should prep the ballista to shoot the meatball. So that is something that I quite honestly don't know how to do yet. I'm probably going to look around the internet for a couple of what are they called, tutorials, and see how you do that, you know, like the dragon release kind of animations. And then I will also want to have a line or a projected line of your of the trajectory of the meatball, right? And to do that, I will also have to look around the internet for a bit, because I don't know how to do that either. Neither the mathematics behind calculating the what's it called? I think it's a parabola. Yes. Neither the mathematics for calculating the parabola, nor the not ray tracing. I mean the effect, because it needs to be an effect. I don't know if it's a particle, if it's a trail, or if it's a line. I honestly don't know. I haven't used these yet. I know I'm kind of a big noob, but you know, that's how it is. But yeah, anyway, that should be, I'd say, it. Does the floor have an audio? The floor should also have an audio effect for when maybe the egg should have. I think the egg should have an audio source. Let's put an audio source on the egg. I just remembered. So what I need is for the egg to make a sound if it hits the floor and it doesn't do anything if you don't catch it. Okay. But I would say this should be it for today. My next steps are going to be figuring out how I'm going to do the part where you launch meatballs in the air, and that's going to be after I figure it out, like Unity wise. I will go into coding it in the next episode, I think, or maybe I will generate the objects at first in the next episode. I'll have to see, but maybe I'll do the ballista first. I think I'll do the ballista first because that's like kind of the most important part of the game, so to say. So yeah, we'll see about that. Okay. What else? Did I forget anything? I think except from the buttons and the menu, I've created everything that should have been created on the screen. The buttons and the menu are going to come in a bit later on the development. Right, so thanks to everybody for watching and listening. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. If you'd like, you can join my Discord and have a chat with me over there. If you liked the video, please like it and maybe even subscribe to my channel for more content. If you didn't, then dislike it. No worries, I like learning from my mistakes. And as always, I hope I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.